Morning, everyone. We'll just wait a couple more minutes and see if there's anyone else to join. So we'll start off at around, say, 33 minutes past, I think. Yeah, for anyone that's joined, I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes for any further attendance, and we'll start at about 33 minutes past. Perfect. Shall we make a start then? Well, first of all, welcome everyone, and thank you for coming along and joining this webinar hosted by CPS around empowering organizational connections and a deep dive into Microsoft Viva. So, first of all, like I said, welcome. From CPS and a host inside, it will be myself, Sam Ellis, who I am a solutions architect here at CPS. Specializing in Teams, SharePoint, Viva, and now Copilot, so that whole kind of employee experience and collaboration piece. And also with me, I've got my colleague Tom, who I'll let him introduce himself.
Cheers, Sam. So yeah, again, the solutions architect in modern work at CPS, and yes, yeah, modern work very much aligns with what Microsoft is. So touching on those cool collaboration tools and employee experience tools in the Microsoft 365 suite. Cheers, Sam.
Perfect. Thanks, Tom. So that's a little bit about us. So in terms of how we're looking to kind of run this session, so we'll have an introduction into the Viva apps for connectivity. So specifically looking at essentially Amplify connections and Viva Engage that fall under that connectivity kind of bracket within the Viva suite. And then from there, we're going to deep dive into each of the areas a little bit further. So looking at Viva Engage, understanding how Viva Engage can what the benefits are, what the different kind of feature set is, and how it can help your organization with a little bit of a demo. Same for Viva Connections. What is Viva Connections? How it works? What different kind of options we've got, and again that kind of premium licensing options as well. And then again, Amplify, which is, I'd say, relatively one of the relatively newer products within the Viva suite. So looking at what Amplify is and how it can transform the communications platform, and how it kind of pairs up with other competitors in the market, and then a little bit of time at the end to go through some questions. So just to point out, with this being a webinar, if there is any questions, we'll monitor questions along the way. So kind of mics are disabled by default, but we can enable them later on if needed. But for the time being, if you just use the Q&A section at the top of this meeting, and if you can chat, if you can type away and put any questions that you may have along the way, and we'll certainly loop back and answer them towards the end and as we go as well, where possible. So that's kind of the introductory slides around the actual webinar itself. So now if we kind of dive into the Viva apps that fall under that connectivity kind of bracket. So we have the employee, so Microsoft call kind of Viva the kind of employee experience platform, and the aim is to bring together all of the communications, the knowledge, learning, resources and insights and so on and so forth into one place. It's designed to help employees develop and empower people in their teams to do the best work and from anywhere anywhere within the world, essentially. So it's based on 6 real pillars of people success, and Microsoft have put them pillars of success to well-being, connection, focus, empowerment, growth, and purpose. And we'll see in just a second how them different apps align to them different pillars as well. Obviously, this is kind of powered by, this is all Microsoft 365 and predominantly used within the Teams. So we've all got basically Teams apps that you can pin using different policies and so on and so forth for users. But they all, with it being obviously Microsoft 365, they do have the web browser to go to as well from that perspective. So first things first, the kind of connections pillar. So this is the one that we're going to be focusing on in this session today, but there will be a series to look at the other areas as well. So specifically in the connections area, we have Viva Engage, formerly known as Yammer. So that's been through a rebrand in the last 12 to 18 months, I'd say. Renamed that to Viva Engage. We've also got Viva Amplify, which is the kind of communications piece that for employee comms and getting messages and creating campaigns and so on and so forth, which Tom will go through a little bit later on in the webinar in more detail. And then also within that, we get the Viva Connections element within it as well. So helping surface dashboards, that kind of frontline workers, and bringing your intranet directly into Teams as well. So that's the kind of connection branch within the experience platform. We then go on to Insight. So this is Viva Pulse and Viva Insights. So this is looking at how insights around the organization and teams, understanding how how teams are working, making sure trying to avoid that kind of burnout rate. And understanding the collaboration hours with teams and where there's kind of further room for improvement and harnessing better work and better work practices across the organization, and divided into teams as well with the premium licensing. We've then got the purpose branch, which Viva Goals sits under the purpose branch. So that's your OKR, your objectives and key results kind of platform. So making sure that that the organization as a whole is reaching, maintaining, tracking against its targets, whether that be departmentally, organizationally, across the year or across kind of quarters. So it's a tracking tool to ensure that the work that people are doing on the ground is all aligning and tying up nicely to the kind of organization goals, so that they're all having that kind of one same push in the right direction to achieve the targets. And then we've got the kind of growth element. So we've got Viva Learning and Viva Topics, so trying to bring in all that kind of learning experience and the topics. So the reason we've left topics in there is people are, and they're still using topics, but that is due for retirement, I think, in 2026. So it's still part of the product suite, Viva Topics, but just to keep an eye on that one, that is currently scheduled for retirement in 2026 from a Viva Topics perspective. And then in terms of kind of business impact of Microsoft Viva, so what we're seeing is by companies investing in Viva, and this applies to the kind of whole Viva suite as well, is that there's a lot of kind of reduced labor costs, so reducing hiring costs, because of the kind of improved employee well-being, which then leads to kind of a better employee retention, hence reducing the kind of labour costs. Decrease in onboarding costs and speed time to value. Fill skills gap by promoting internally and improving productivity with fewer meetings. So that's how we have seen from working in past projects and collaborating with Microsoft of how Viva can help reduce the labour costs. We've also got some other kind of big business impact areas, such as increasing revenue through business transformation. So increasing the customer retention. Obviously, the collaboration and focus and goal alignment areas are really big factor, especially with the Viva goals element. And obviously, with it being an employee experience platform, the biggest one is is enhancing employee engagement. So we've got a lot of increased profitability because people taking kind of less sick days. They're more engaged. They're more kind of enthused about the work because they feel as they feel part of the kind of community and the collective to help drive the company forward and feel the real worth and benefit of the work that they're doing by leveraging kind of the Viva to promote it and get that kind of well-being sense. And also from an IT perspective, there's a lot of kind of integrations that are what we're calling out of the box, and with it all being in kind of one platform, it's a lot less kind of deployment and maintenance and development costs. It's all in one place and all managed by Microsoft in that evergreen kind of platform model. So yeah, there's no kind of development cost for it, and a lot of the integrations are there with like Workforce and LinkedIn Learning and so on so forth. So in terms of just kind of leading on to kind of business value, so with the work that we've done with Microsoft, we're seeing around 327% total return on investment with payback. We're seeing payback on kind of licensing costs within in less than 6 months in some cases. We're also getting reports of kind of 50% reduction in time to full productivity from faster onboarding. So that's when people first onboarding, they're getting up to speed faster because they're having kind of tools all brought into one place and know where to go, and then they can section off from that kind of one single platform. A really good one is search time. A lot, I think Microsoft did a stat a couple of years ago that it was on average about 7 hours per week per user. People were spending searching for items, for files, for content. So obviously that's put that in a week. That's near enough a day a week. Average that out across the year, across all your users. A lot of time is spent searching for content. So with Viva, it brings all of that in, and you can it enhances the search across that kind of M365 estate. So with all that, it aids that kind of reducing that search time and that kind of whole collaboration and experience as well for the users. And also a 20% reduction in employee attrition as well. So with that in mind, Microsoft have, I'm hoping you guys can see that okay. I'll just zoom in a little bit. With that in mind, Microsoft have kind of a few packages that do relate to the kind of Viva suite. So specifically looking at this bit here, the connections piece, which includes your likes of Viva Connections, Viva Engage, and Viva Amplify, which we're going through today, is on your M365 F1, F3, your 365 M or O365 E3, E1 or E3, you do get Viva Connections, Viva Engage communities, conversations and storylines, all included as part of that license type. If you do have an M365 E5 license, you do, however, get all of them plus the additional advanced security features that are available within Viva Engage. And then if I just zoom out a little bit so we can see the rest of the slide, we've got then a specific package that relates directly to the Viva employee connections and communications experience. So like I say, the Viva Engage, the Amplify, and the connections. And essentially what that does that's for $2 per user per month. That gives you everything that you would expect if you had, say, an E5 license, plus the multi-instance support for Viva Connections. So you can have up to 10 dashboards in Viva Connections, kind of like group, like target audience. So you might have one for the stores, you might have one for shop workers and specific areas in the business. So you get the so instead of just the one which you get free, with the advanced package, you do get up to 10 that you can use, and use kind of security groups to target that content. You also get in Viva Engage, so on top of, as part of the kind of communications package, you get Leadership Corner and the enhanced analytics, which Tom will touch on in the Viva Engage side of things. So having that whole Leadership Corner, I kind of like I describe it as maybe like a blog area within Viva Engage to enhance collaboration and reduce that kind of potential gap between leadership and the rest of the workforce. And then the big one is Viva Amplify. So as part of that package, you get the whole Viva Amplify, whereas within any of the previous normal licenses like the E5s and the E3s, Viva Amplify is not included at all in any of them. That is a complete add-on. So as part of that package, you get the full Viva Amplify product as well. And then one that we haven't quite or we haven't outlined, but just worth a quick mention, is there is a complete Viva Suite license, which is $12 per user per month, which you get everything Viva. So everything that we've discussed there in the kind of communications and communities platform, as well as the workplace analytics, and you will also get your Viva Goals, your Glint, your Pulse. So everything Viva is included for that one price for the kind of larger scale in the Viva Suite package as well. So started I'd mention that in there from a licensing perspective as well. So with all of that, with all of that, I think the next part to go on to is understanding Viva Engage in a little bit more depth. And for that, I'll pass over to my colleague Tom.
Yes, Sam. Thanks for the intro. So we're going to focus on give you an insight into Viva Engage, and just talk through those parts of it as well. So people might be familiar with Viva Engage in its previous form. So it was known as Yammer, and you will still see instances of it. And on the odd occasion, you'll get consultants like myself calling it Yammer as well, unfortunately. But it's a force of habit from the old name of it. But yeah, they're trying to rebrand it to Viva Engage to say it has that engagement platform where you can do your you can create your communities and engage with bring all your workforce together, and they can have their discussions and have their free form chats if they want to. So that's what Viva Engage is. So one of the big things it does is it's allowing your employees to share their voice. So it's built around this aspect of people can go and post their own stories, their updates, make announcements. They can share polls, they can ask questions. They've got all that ability to interact with people across the organisation as well. So it's not siloed down with basically the people that you work with. And obviously, in the previous world, you used to sit next to someone and speak to them all the time, or you'd chat at the water cooler about something. But the idea from this is that it's breaking down those silos across the organisation, so people can share across the whole organisation, spread across a geographical space or different office locations, and that's what it's looking to do there. So it's built on, as well as having the ability, you have your own forum to share your information from your own storyline. There are the ability to create communities, and these are a way to organise those discussions into topic areas and really foster those connections as well between them as well. So you've got the ability to go and create. You can let people create their own communities, and they can base around aspects of the work they're related to. Maybe related around the department, maybe around a new initiative, it might be around a new marketing campaign or something, or it can be around social aspects as well. So it can be around the pets you may have, interest outside of work as well, and anywhere. So giving people to have those discussion forums and chat and bringing people together in that workplace as well. So yeah, Viva Engage, they all built around that community aspect and bringing people together in that way. And finally, so this is with the new updates. So when they announced the update and the rename to Viva Engage, is they added a lot more premium features to Viva Engage, and these are the parts that come in with that additional license. So the bits I've just spoke about before that, they're all there available out of the box with your Microsoft 365 license. So these extra bits now, these come in with the kind of Viva Engage premium elements that you're looking to bring in here. So there's one of the big things it brought in was the ability for leaders to have their own space in Viva Engage. So there's a concept of a leadership corner, so you can delegate who your leaders are, be them your senior leadership team or your board, and you highlight who they are, and then they're kind of, it's an area where all of their post interactions are kind of gathered up into one location and shared from there. The idea is as well, so with that leadership part as well, obviously these leaders might be busy. You've got the ability to delegate, the ability for people to post on other people's behalf as well. So an assistant or someone from marketing can support people with the messages they're putting out by delegating the ability for people to ask posts and put things out from there as well. Other add-on premium elements as well is the Ask Me Anything feature. So AMAs, people may have seen them. They're tools like Reddit have kind of make these really popular. So if you can just have an open window of time where people just ask questions and it can foster discussions and innovation, and you've got the ability to create those as well. So you can get those created and put them into there as well. The other thing with that kind of being able to ask questions as well, there is Viva Answers. It is known as Viva Answers, but it's based within Viva Engage. You've got the ability to go and ask questions, something you're not sure about, and then you tag it with the topics you think it might be related to, and there's predefined experts in those areas that can then answer the questions, and then there's ability for people to have discussions around that, and an ability to promote a bit of gamification so people can vote on the best answers and really get that information back from it as well. And the last bit of interaction with the premium feature is that there's also increased analytics as well. So you get more of the sentiment analysis with there. You can see the interaction you're having with it. You can see all the likes and the emoji responses that people are giving to the posts. And that's where it kind of digs into the bigger bit with it. So that's the say the Viva Engage elements that it's got there, and we're going to dig into some of those premium features now with a demonstration of what we can do with Viva Engage. So let me just flip to my browser. So first thing I want to show, so this is, I'm logged into a demo environment here, and this is Teams, Microsoft Teams, but in the web version here. So the first thing to show you straight away is that we've got the on the app bar on the left hand side, you've got all the apps there for Viva Tools. We're going to go and see in there quite usefully. The Viva Engage one has not been pinned, but we can go there and open up Viva Engage, and you can go and access this directly in Microsoft Teams. So it's in your flow of normal work. You don't need to go and open up a new browser to go and see this information. It's pulled into there. The other things with this as well is it does, in your activity stream as well, you will get announcements and updates in there. So it does actually push notifications to you in the Teams app. So this is that point where I say Viva is all around being kind of built for Teams and being accessible in Teams with that point of view. So it is all accessible from there. So with dedicated apps, also you've got a mobile app as well that you can access to if you've allowed BYOD access, you can do that as well. And for my demo now, I'm going to flip more into to the browser view just because it gives a bit of a better aspect of it as well, and we've shown what you can do. So in my demo environment, I am Alan. And this is my my Viva Engage home area. And first thing to shout around here is that there's my information around me. I've got I can see all the information around my activity, things that I've bookmarked, people that I'm following, and the posts that I've made. And see here, I can go and share my thoughts or idea. And this is sharing it directly and in what somebody called is your storyline. So this is your own personal feed where you can share information. So when you go to post something, you've got the ability to say, when you do post it, you can tag people into it as well, but you can actually say where is it you want to post it to. So you can actually you can share it to a different community if you wanted to, and I'll show you that bit in a moment. But this is where you want to share something from yourself, but you don't. It's more related, personal to you. It's not something you want to kind of put out there you don't want to put it out into a certain community in that way. So that's the storyline element. Everyone has their own storyline where they can share their own posts, and then you'll get people can respond to them, and to say they've got the ability to respond with their emoji likes. You've got your threaded discussions there with it. You can share links to it as well, and you can see the interactions you're getting there with your message there. As with the other types of things, there are things that you can create. So you can go off and create, say, a discussion, which is just like making a post in a way to say something. You can ask a question. It's just simply gives you a different kind of format for how the the post is generated. You can praise someone if you wanted to, so you can actually go and find someone you want to go and praise and share information around that. You can start a poll to ask to get some feedback on something. You've even got the ability to go and create articles. That's where you can kind of write a bit more of a detailed page about some information that I might want to share with that. So that's your storyline element. So that's where you can put your information out there. Where Viva Engage really becomes powerful is the communities part of it. So here we can see all the communities that are there within the Contoso Electronics organisation that are in here. So each one of these cards is a different community, and I've got the ability to follow them if I want to with a heart there. So see, these are all very business focused ones. We've got our leadership one there. We've got the all company feed, so that's very much where any messages out come up for the all company. And we've got our sales best practice. So as Alan's a salesman, so he's in the sales best practice one, and he likes to have sales discussion on in there. And these communities, they can be created as private or public, and with that you can make them so people can, if they want to join them, they have to pass a kind of be approved to access them in that way. And also, well, say things like the all company feed, which is for the whole organisation has access to. You can manage and moderate posts into there as well. So you don't need to, it's not an open forum where anyone can ask anything. There are moderation features in Viva Engage which will restrict what people can go and do. But if we go and open up our sales best practice community here, we can go and see if it opens up. There we go. Right. So each community has their own page, and you see here we've got our discussion thread and what's been going on. So you can see here Lee has shared some praise for a couple of people, shared a link, and embedded a video from Stream as the video sharing platform within Microsoft 365. And so then we've got the ability to kind of interact with that, to like it. I can go and share it on if I wanted to. I can add it to my storyline. I can share it to a different community, and I can respond with a comment to say how I feel about it. And quite nicely as well, I can go and the best features. I can go and add a GIF that shares how I feel about that as a bit of a humorous way to share my interaction with that. So these are the community areas. To say that the thing with this, what this means is where you are. This allows you to have like a more focused conversations about it. So rather than kind of doing everything out in split groups, it allows you to segment the conversations into certain areas, and then they can you can make sure that people are monitoring those areas. Where you join as a member, that means you get notified about new updates as well as getting notified if you've got kind of app mentioned or someone says your name. It lets you in that part in as well. So they're the two kind of core features with this that you get with Viva Engage. So these are all the standard features. Say that your storyline, your communities, the ability to create those areas for your organisation to interact and break down those boundaries and silos that you may have currently in your organisation. Now, some of the extra features we have. So we've got the leadership corner. So here's the leadership corner here. So what this does is it collates the posts from people that have been designated as leaders of your organisation. So that might be your senior leadership team, it may be your heads of departments, those parts of it there. But you add them in there, and then they're added in as kind of people that you kind of want to group together and post together in that way. So the thing with the leaders as well, so these leaders can delegate posting, so they can let other people post on their behalf, but it will appear as their posts. Have been a long time feature missing from Viva Engage, the ability to kind of share posts and let people do it in that way. So with this here, all it does is it pulls it all together in one place, so you can see all the leadership posts from the different people. They might be shared, so it'll show where they've been shared from as well. So here we can see this post has been shared from Patty's storyline rather than from directly into a community. And so you can just see where they've all got the ability to create those different types of posts and put them into there to give them access to it as well. And if you want to go and you can actually go and then follow the leaders as well. Sounds like that's a game, isn't it, in that way? But yeah, when you choose to follow them, you'll get updates about their posts as well. So there's that in that social kind of element there. You can go and follow people and get updates around their posts and what they're looking to do from that way. So that's the leadership corner. So that added feature we've got in there as well. Another thing we've got as well is a Viva Answers. So Viva Answers in Viva Engage. This is the only place that it's surfaced in that way. And this is where what you can go and do is you can go and create a question you want to go and ask, and you tag it with some topics you want to get done, and then it then sits there and for waiting to get an answer around it in that way. And so they're all split up by topics, so they're the kind of the tags you might put onto it in that way. And what you've got the ability to do is kind of follow topics as well as the things you might be interested in. So you can see here that Alan posted a comment around how to book holiday for the next financial year, and they asked around how do I book leave for next year's allocation. what we'll see here, that say Megan, who worked in HR, gave some information around it, just to say how it will work in that way. And so obviously we've got the threaded response there, so Alan could respond in that way. So you've got the ability to kind of mark it as a best response. You can kind of vote to up it, as well as kind of if other people, if you're having more discussions around things as well, you can have that ability to kind of promote answers up and in that way, and see them going from there. And one of the great things, well, obviously, so Alan might have asked that question, not know about something, it would have notified me in my team's activity as well here, so I could see that that Megan answered my question, and it will link directly to that question there as well. So it's not something that you kind of thrown out the question. You will get notified about the responses that you're going to get to it in there as well, and you can see it in there. Okay, one of the last bits I want to show off was the Ask Me Anything feature as well. So this adds in, you've got the ability to go and create your own AMAs, as they're called. What you do is you can go and create them. So I can go and create an AMA, you say what it's going to be about, you post it, you say where you want to share it and what time it's going to be. You've got some other settings to say how you want to control it as well. So if you want to put some moderation on it as well, so if it was around a sensitive subject and you didn't want all the questions to go live straight away, you can moderate those questions and almost like release them as they come through, and say what they're doing. You've also got the ability to say that people can ask anonymous questions as well. So again, people will feel more, will tend to respond more if they know they've got the ability to respond anonymously and things like that as well. I've actually got there's one I've already created as Alan. And if I go back to my page here, you see I've got my AMA about Viva. Obviously, we're talking about Viva today. And so the experience is, it just gives you that further discussion to discuss that topic. So the idea would be that Alan would kind of sit on this panel for the time window we've got here. People can go and ask some questions. So I've posted that question there from Alan, say what's your favourite Viva tool, and yeah, letting people to respond to it and give their thoughts around the things as well. But yeah, that's the idea from the AMAs. It's a great way to interact with people. Say they used to be called Yam Jams, I think, back in the day when it was Viva, but going back, old school names for it there. But yeah, that's one of the great features that they've added now in with that kind of premium Viva engaged bit. So I'll say one last bit I touched on as well, just conscious of time, was the analytics bit as well. So yeah, this whole new analytics bit as well, this all comes in the Viva Premium bit as well. So here we can see basically how your posts are getting responded to as well, see what the interaction is, where they're being engaged, who's reading them, who's commenting on your posts, and you can say much more better engaged as well. This is really powerful from the leadership point of view as well, so if you can see who's interacting with your leads as well. Obviously, people like it when they've got that connection to all the people across the organisation. So it's a nice way to see that, and here you can go and see what those reactions are to people's posts, and those analytics you'll get from there as well. So that's Viva Engage and the premium bits that I was going to show you there. So with that, I'm going to pass back over to Sam, and he's going to talk to you around Viva Connections.
Perfect, thanks, Tom. So yeah, so one of the other products within the kind of connections and communities branch of Viva is Viva Connections. Now, there's not as much of two Viva Connections as what Tom went through with Viva Engage. A lot of Viva Connect, most of Viva Connection you get free as part of your 365 license. And there's only there's one real benefit of that upgraded license from a connections perspective of that multi-instance, which we'll go through in a bit more detail in a second. So what is Viva Connections? So Viva Connections is branded as this is the gateway to your employee experience. Essentially, it aims to bring everything and tie it into one and bring it into Teams. So with that, bringing your intranet. So if you've got a SharePoint, modern SharePoint online intranet, you can bring that directly into the Teams desktop or browser through Viva Connections. You can also create Viva Connections dashboards as well for different apps, which again we'll go into. But with Viva Connections, it's all around that kind of personalized communication and resources. So it's using the Microsoft Graph and now as well artificial intelligence, using the personal kind of algorithms to bring back and display content directly in people's Teams clients or on their phones as well. Direct, relatable and relevant messages and updates and posts and content to that specific user. So with some of the web parts in SharePoint, and certainly with some of the kind of dashboards and the way connections work, some of the content will surface differently for each individual user, just based off what content they've interacted with, and then them kind of algorithms that are sitting behind the Graph API. So in this image here, this is where Viva Connections has been used as the internet has been directly brought through into Viva, into Teams using Viva Connections. Now, if we move on, we then have what we call a dashboard. So it's a bit more of a simplistic and slick design with Viva Connections, and it's aimed to be very user friendly in terms of the likes of booking days off. What have I got coming up in meeting wise? It's that one kind of dashboard where all of the individual apps and data across that 365 platform all goes into that one place. So it's very quick for users to book time off, to find information around relevant topics, see what's happened on Viva Engage, like Tom's just been through that, all in kind of a one-stop window. And that's the aim of Viva Connections, is to create that one window within Teams, because that's one of the first things most people do, or if not all, most people do even, is open Teams first thing in the morning, Teams in your emails. So Microsoft have recognized that, and instead of having to ship out to different places, so SharePoint sites, your intranet to find this, and so on and so forth, they've tied all of them together with Viva Connections and the Viva Suite in general, to bring it into Teams, to create that users never really have to leave Teams to find out any piece of information, doesn't matter what 365 product it's on. And again, like I mentioned with integrations before, the potential to bring them integrations and also get them pulled through into the likes of connections and so on and so forth as well. So that's a dashboard. And then also everything that is done from a kind of Viva, from a Viva Connections dashboard or the internet perspective, it's all completely mobile responsive as standard. So it's really, really useful for frontline workers, and that's one of the key things from Microsoft Viva and certainly Connections, is to bring that experience through to knowledge workers and frontline workers, to help them feel connected, help them to find relevant information and input relevant information very quickly without the need for a laptop or a desktop. To be able to do it all nice and quickly from their phone. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go into a quick demo of what Viva Connections looks like, what it is, what different kind of options and look and feel we've got with Viva Connections. So let me just share my window here. So again, like Tom, this is one of our demo environments where we have multiple licenses to be able to do demos and webinars such as this. So what we've got here is, as you can see, I'm in Teams, and a very similar app rail to what Tom has. We've got all the different Viva products, your chat, your Teams, but this particular one is Viva Connections here. So this is the Viva Connections logo as well. And what this allows users to do is when you click on that, it brings through what we can see here is a Viva Connections dashboard. So within this dashboard, it's pulling through from basically your intranet. It's pulling through important news articles, important communications, and putting it on this top rail here. So if you're using authoritative news sites, if you've got that whole kind of news center, news hub set up in your SharePoint internet, it works really well off that to pull through, and it uses target audiences. So if there are articles in SharePoint that target audience, it will still pull through to them relevant users within the dashboards. One thing to note is on this left hand side here, the actual kind of logo and the name is completely configurable. So through the Teams admin center, and certainly what we do for our clients and what we've done internally as well is, as an example, at CPS, our intranet is called the Hub. What we've done is we've got a bespoke logo for our intranet, and obviously we called it the hub. So what we've done is we've gone into you can go into the Teams admin and you can set up an app policy for Viva Connections, and you can change the logo, you can change the name again to add that kind of branding, on-point branding and personalization into the app. And also what I'd recommend is, if you are looking to use this, is to do a setup policy, so that Viva Connections or whatever your Viva Connections may be called, like I said, ours is the hub, that is pinned to that Teams app rail, so that users can't move it, they can't unpin it. It's part of a policy, so it's always there for users to basically, like a quick start menu. It's always there on that kind of top left hand navigation rail for quick access. So we can have two really essentially two setups of Viva Connections. We can have the dashboard view, which we've got here, which is completely customizable. So I've got the edit buttons, so I can edit some of the content on here where it's pulling and collating data from, whereas normal users won't have that. They'll just be able to see the dashboards that have been set by the administrators. But in here, this is where this kind of dashboard and the dashboard cards, the connections cards, really come into use. So there's a lot of dashboard cards that are kind of out of the box. So if I just go into if I just edit it here, we can see it's kind of like anyone's similar to SharePoint kind of web parts and adding them to pages. It's very, very similar kind of process. Is you press add a card, and it's basically you bring up like a web store, like a SharePoint store, or in this case a connections card store. And we can have different connections cards, such as you can put in the Teams app, you can put in assigned tasks, approvals, events, and so on and so forth. So if I just put in Viva Learning, it will link off to Viva Learning if you've got Viva Learning set up, and look through LinkedIn Learning, any integrations with Workday and so on and so forth. And what we can do, we can see how that looks on a kind of mobile, on a desktop, and then once you're happy, is you can republish that, and that will basically update your connections dashboard. And the connections dashboard is essentially a SharePoint ASPX page that sits on your actual intranet home site as well. So once you create a SharePoint page as a home site, it will automatically create a dashboard, which is where you can also do some of the tailoring around that. I think one really good, or two really useful features for the dashboard is, one, is very, very good for kind of frontline workers. And two, you have the ability with some kind of JSON and a bit of custom development to build your own bespoke kind of dashboard cards here. So as an example, for a client, for a previous client, we have created essentially they do a lot of kind of generation system, like generators and things like that. So the price each week of fuel, diesel and petrol either decreases or increases, and salespeople need to know how much it is that week when they're doing proposals and quotes and so on and so forth. So we created a dashboard card that we added to the Viva Connections dashboard that would automatically integrate with one of their suppliers' system to pull back that week's or that current time's petrol prices, and you'd be able to lock it in. So it was nice and simple for people on the go, people in Teams, on their desktops, going into the internet to be able to see what the current price of diesel or petrol is for that week from their suppliers, and so on and so forth. So there's real big integration benefits with them dashboard cards as well. So that's one configuration option. We've got the second configuration option with Viva Connections, is you can just directly have your intranet, so your SharePoint online modern intranet, presented in Teams. So it would look like this. So this is an example intranet. So every time you would open up Viva Connections, open up your intranet, instead of going to a dashboard, you could configure it to basically open up SharePoint, your SharePoint intranet within Teams, and kind of a bit of like an iframe perspective. And again, through here, it's exactly the same as how it would look on SharePoint. If you were to get it through the SharePoint URL, which you can also do from here as well as you go to the SharePoint website directly. But again, by having that, is you get that kind of organizational the organizational navigation is a bit more prominent, a bit more easier to use within, in my opinion, using the second configuration model. But the good thing is then dashboard cards can still be put into your SharePoint intranet homepage. So then dashboard cards aren't lost. You're not having to choose between dashboard or not having them dashboard cards. You can actually still have the second integration or second configuration option with the dashboard cards still a big part of that homepage. And essentially, yeah, and then from there it's exactly the same as if we were to open this up in the online browser. It's exactly as it looks in SharePoint as it does in Teams, and people with the SharePoint permissions then on that internet site can edit it and update that content. That's the main two options and the main ways of configuring Viva connections with dashboard cards and the two different configuration options. One, like I said, one thing to note as well from that kind of premium licensing for Viva connections is the ability to have up to 10 of these. If I just go back to here, is to have up to 10 of these dashboards. So as an example, this would be dashboard 1. If you had that premium licensing, you could say, right, dashboard 1 would be a dashboard for for the sales team. Then you might have another dashboard that would be more relevant to the HR team, that would have links, that have dashboard card that links off to the HR system and further integrations. And you can have up to 10 of them. And the way, essentially, once you have that premium license, it locks in the Viva admin portal. It will allow you to build these up to 10 different dashboards like .aspx SharePoint pages, and you'll essentially be able to target audience them based on groups. So you had a marketing group, you could target the marketing dashboard to the marketing group, and then when a user loads up, it will check that target audience and are you part of that dashboard? Which group are you part of? Okay, you're part of marketing. This is your dashboard, so you can have up to 10 tailored dashboard experiences across your organization with that premium license. But yeah, I think that was everything that I wanted to cover from a kind of Viva connections standpoint. So I'll hand back over to Tom to go through Viva Amplify, and as always, Q&As. I'll check the Q&As for any questions coming, and we'll get round to them. So yeah, I'll hand over to you, Tom.
Cheers, Sam. Thanks for that. So yeah, now we're going to go talk around, say, how Viva Amplify can help you with your communication. So Viva Amplify, it's a tool. So it's quite a slides aren't going on. There we go. So the idea for Viva Amplify, it's a tool that gives you the ability to manage your communication campaigns in one place. So with Microsoft 365, you have got lots of different communication tools, how you might send out messages. That might be via an email, it might be via a SharePoint page, it might be via a Teams message, it might be via a Viva Engage post. And what this lets you do is have a joined up way to kind of make sure that you're hitting out your messages by the right ways, and you're sharing the same message as well. So this is where a tool, for example, something like MailChimp might have gone before. You can send out different messages to different people, and you can kind of control those campaigns and how they're going out. So Viva Amplify has come in as this tool to simplify that process in Microsoft 365. So it's built on the concept of campaigns. So you create campaigns, and then you can give you delegate people to be members of that campaign, and then you can have owners and approvers, and they manage the creation of the communications and sharing those out in that way. And so once you actually then got them created, you can then manage and the distribution of those communications. So basically, it's built in the SharePoint page framework. So you build a SharePoint page, but then what it'll do is quite nice. It'll convert it into different formats, so you can share it in different ways. So it can create you an email template to say how that would look on an email. It can show you as a Teams message. You can share that via a channel. Coming soon, you have the ability to share out as a Viva Engage post, and also you've got the ability to share out as a stream video as well. So you can share it on that way. But those messages can be scheduled as well. So you can obviously, if you've got a campaign over a couple of weeks, you can make sure the messages are hitting people's inboxes, hitting their SharePoint sites at specific times and being made visible when they need to be in that way. So you don't have to be sitting over the publish button and waiting to publish them when you need to get them out there. And finally, what it will let you do is it'll give you the ability to see the insights and the performance of those campaigns as well. So show the engagement you're getting there with it. It will show you how many people have viewed it, how many people have shared it on, and what reactions they've got to them as well. So that's what Viva Amplify is all around. So it's just it's that one tool to kind of bring it all together in that one place and show you interacting with there. So with that, we'll jump into a demo of Viva Amplify. So at the minute, so it's a relatively new tool, so they haven't actually embedded this into the Teams app yet. But there's a portal where you go to, and you'll get your Viva Amplify campaigns. Really interesting as well. It always gives you this welcome prompt whenever you open the page as well. So apologies if this comes up about 3 or 4 times during my demonstration now. Unfortunately, there's no way for it to kind of get rid of it in that way. It's just trying to be helpful in that way. So here we are in Viva Amplify. So yeah, so there's a URL to get to it there, and say what you'll see here is just anyone who's got a Viva Amplify license, they'll have the ability to go and create campaigns and work on campaigns, as you can see there. So you can see here I've got a couple of different campaigns that have been created. They may be live, they may be draft, and with those they have a the way what they do is if we go to create a new one, you give it a name. So let's create a new one for launching Microsoft Viva. Obviously, I'm Microsoft wrong. You give it a description to explain what you're looking to do, and then you can give it a color just to kind of brand it how you want to do it. Once you've got it created, you can add who the people you want to be involved in as well. So I might want to go and add someone from a different department who's going to help me with it, and you can say what role they're going to have in that as well. In terms of if they're an editor, just be able to create content, or they're going to go and edit and approve content in that way. When you actually create the campaign, and what it does is it builds you a SharePoint site in the background, which is where you then go and create your communications and work from them from there. So that's going to go off and create my campaign for me. So it doesn't take too long. And we'll see here we land straight away on our home page for this campaign. We say we've got a site now, we can go and access it. So now me and Meg can go and work on here and create a campaign. You can share some information around it as well. So you can share a campaign brief about what the objectives for the campaign, just the ability to kind of add in some text around as well. This will say help the other people that are working on the campaign with you understand what are the messages you need to put out there and how you're going to work with it in that way. And you can go and see the publications that you may have created and you've got in there as well. So as one that's not got much information in, I'm going to come back to a test one now that I've already got some content in there and show you that one. So this is a campaign, again, not so it comes up every time. We've got our Giving Help campaign that we kicked off at the beginning of the year. And you might have seen one of the updates come through when Sam showed you the Viva Connections page there in terms of the news. It was the fireman there, the February update with that. So what you can go and do in here, so you've got the ability to go and create the post that you want to go and create, and here we can go and see the previous campaign posts that have gone out as well, and you can see when they're scheduled to be published and that as well. So again, we've got that publications view, and it'll show the items in here that are being published out and going in out to get created. If I want to go and create a new publication, I can go and give it a name. So let's do our April updates in here, and see the experience here. It's a very nice in browser editor. You've got the ability to go and add bits in there. Unfortunately, I was spelling corrected there. I've got the ability to kind of decide how that was going to look. If I want to go and add a picture from here, let's go and put in a nice spring picture that we want to go put in for April. I can decide how it's going to how that appears. So this is very similar, say, to the kind of the SharePoint. Anyone who's used SharePoint for creating news posts, that same experience you've got there from adding that in there. I then go and add in the elements I want to add onto the page. So I can go and add in my my text part, my text widget, web part as it's called. I can add in an image. I can say what the picture is going to be. Let's go and put something random in. From there, and say I've got the ability to add in extra sections in and add in parts that I want to go do there. So the ability to add in links, you can add in buttons, call to actions. I can embed, so if I wanted to kind of call out a person card as well, so I can say people to contact for more help. you can add in a contact list there, and that will bring up the Microsoft 365 card from there, and they've got different ways that will appear from that way. So great editing experience. So once you've worked with it, you've got the ability to save and close it, and you can save it, and you also got the ability to template page. So if you get a really nice design you want to go and do, you can go and template, share it out, and work around do from that. So obviously there'll be a bit of a process here to add more content into here and give you a nice rich page. But just to kind of speed through the process, the next things we're going to go and do is actually see what it looks like on a different distribution channels in here. So this is where the power of Viva Amplify really comes in here. So I've created something in a SharePoint in Viva Amplify there as a page. I've now got the ability to see how it will look if I was going to send it out as an email, how it will look on the SharePoint page there, and how it would look as a Teams update as well. So I can choose how it works from there. So you can preview how it looks. I can make changes to it if I needed to. So I can customize it for Outlook. So for example, I didn't think that image was relevant for the Outlook one, I can come in here and remove the image if it loads up. There we go. So I've got a different editing format now. So this is editing out what the email is going to appear and how it's going to look. So if I didn't want to have that picture quite so big, I can make it quite smaller, and that will just be change it for that web version of it. But so it brings through everything I've done in that one place and pulls it through into here. Once you can go and do, so obviously I can go and test that and see what it looks like. So I can send it a test email to show me what that publication will look like. And I can add the recipients who it's going to go to. This is where you might have your distribution list, say who's going to be notified about this update, and share it there. You get a similar thing with the Teams update, the SharePoint ones as well. You choose the SharePoint sites you wanted to go to. So we had Sam's, the landing site, which his name is the intranet. There we go there. I choose, I want to post it into there. It's going to add that as a news post in that site and be visible there for it as well. And then I've got the Teams. I can say which channels I want that to go through as well. And you've got the option to say how is it going to be created as a post or as an announcement. And you can say if people can reply and updates to it as well. So that's Viva Amplify in terms of the ability to kind of then schedule out and publish out those messages. So you don't have to publish it straight away. I can schedule it to be published, and that's where I can set a time that I want to do. I need to set those settings for it to say who it's going to go to, but yeah, I've got that option to schedule it there if I needed to. I also have the option, I think it's going to show me again now, to send it for approval as well. So I'm creating this as Alan. So Alan's got owner permission, so I don't need to get things approved. But if I was just an editor role, I would need to send it for approval. So that's where I can say I can request approval for it. But again, I need to just obviously fill in those details there to say I need someone to approve it before that message can then get sent out and when it's going to go. So that's you creating of your posts and seeing how they work. If I go back to my campaign that we're on about, so our campaign, you'll see, I don't have to kind of publish it at that point. It's there available. Anyone who's got access to the campaign can see what I've created. And you see it's sitting there as a draft, waiting to be published and made visible. Now, when something is published, the way you can get the analytics and see what is actually how it's been interacting. So I can see for that February update that we sent out, demo environments, not much content's happened to there. I see it's been interacted by one person in Outlook and one person in SharePoint, and it gives you that response there. The analytics, it gives you more like overview analytics rather than kind of deep dive into the individual people. So from a compliance point of view, to understand who's seen it, you will struggle with that part of it. But it does show you there. It shows you the reactions they've had as well, in terms of, let's say, if there's been any comments, any positive reactions as well. And say you can filter it down by, say, audiences and by the organisation level as well. If you have got that information against it, say here, I haven't got that information in my environment, but you can kind of see how the people are seeing it. So I don't think about the audiences. No, it's just going to be pushed out by the locations it's gone to in that way. So I could, if I published it to multiple SharePoint sites, I could see where the interactions have been from there. So coming back to Stan's, where you might have 10 different, like you might have up to 10 different landing sites that people are going to go to, I could publish it to all 10 at once. So rather have to go and do 10 manual pages in that way. So that's the power of Viva Amplify, and that's what it will kind of help you do there in terms of so managing your campaigns and pushing out those messages across your organisation within Microsoft 365. So that's that for the demo part of our call now. And what we wanted to just kind of touch on is how CPS can help you with any of this. So obviously we've just touched around the Viva Connection part there, but we touch around the whole suite, and typically how we help our customers with is kind of really, okay, we can deep dive into kind of what your current employee experience is, and understand any issues you may have, and say really sell the benefits that Viva might bring. Obviously, they understand there's a licensing cost for some of these additional tools that can help you with that, build that business case to kind of work out what you want to do. Moving on from that, it maybe you want to pilot a tool and share it with there as well. So yeah, we can help support pilots for individual elements of the suite. If there's something you want to do, say that I recommend have a look at that licensing option, seeing what you can do there and seeing what tools you may want to use. And then digging onto bigger bits, we can also kind of do full proof of concept of the whole suite, showing what all the tools will do, touching on all those different pillars in terms of insights, growth, and purpose, and showing what the tools can let you do there as well. So you say there's was it 8 different? I think is it 8 different tools at the minute, Sam? Maybe going to be 7 when topics goes, but lots of different tools of different features. You want to really think about how you're going to deploy those and put them out there as well. So that's where I say a centre of excellence can really help with that kind of promotion of what tools are there and why you would use them, what the benefits of using them as well. And even go down to the very simplest format of just getting you ready to go with the tool as well. So just enabling it and getting to go. So that's how we can help at CPS. If there's anything that we can help you with, if there's kind of a whetted your appetite with what I showed today, please reach out and we can help you out with that. With that, conscious of the time, obviously we've run a little bit. We can hang around for a bit. So if anyone's got any questions, we're happy to kind of field those now. Sam, I don't know if you've been monitoring the chat.
Yeah, there was a question in the chat before, which has been answered around engage and connections apps, mobile apps. So that's been answered. So nothing else has come through as of yet. But
okay.
But no, if anyone does have any questions, please do feel free to get in touch with us via LinkedIn or the other communication methods, and we can certainly help out and see where we can go and take it from there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think this chat will stay open for a while if you wanted to kind of respond on here as well. Okay, so there's no specific questions I want to raise there. We can just kind of wrap up then. And so to say next steps and recommendations. So obviously, yeah, said before, if you speak to us, you want any help, we kind of building your people first employee experience in Microsoft 365. So definitely recommend you review that Microsoft suite and the tools and the abilities they give you. Say that there is a lot of tools that are there that you do get for free. So we've showed you some of those free elements of it. Today we've obviously focused on the premium bit of that connections license pack you get there, but so definitely worth exploring the Viva licensing. And there's a link there. We'll share the slides off this meeting as well. There's a link to the full comparison table there that you can go and see the licensing that you get. And then finally, just say we've got our CPS service catalog that shows you what else we do. So we are a Microsoft 365 a partner now. So we touch the whole spectrum of tools in there. So if there's anything else you need support with, say please have a look at our service catalog and see how we can help you. If there's anything else, Sam, you got anything else to add? We can end the call there and yeah, leave you to have a nice Wednesday afternoon, or no, Wednesday morning still, isn't it? So
just about. No, nothing from me. No, thanks very much for joining. And yeah, hopefully speak to you soon. Thank you. Thanks again.
Yeah. Cheers all. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Bye.